Hello, welcome to What's Bubbling at ZIM. I am inventor Dan Zen. In the last bubbling, we took a look at the motion controller, and in this one we're going to take a look at, well, the motion controller again, but with a gamepad this time, and what the new gamepad class with ZIM lets you do. Okay, let's take a look at the last thing that we were working on. And that was here. And we used a key down. So here I am, first person with key down, and I'm sort of driving this car around or whatever with first person view. Now, what I'd like to do is go back to the controller here. There's the controller. We have now a Microsoft thing plugged in. I think this is an Xbox controller. It would work with most controllers. And we type in game button like that. So if we're using the game button to control it, that's what it is. Otherwise, we would use the game stick. So there's the game stick as well. Let's try the game button first. So we save that and refresh. Refresh here. Now, by default, I think it's the right trigger goes forward, left trigger goes backwards. So right trigger forwards, and then the buttons, well, yeah, there we go. So the D-pad now is doing it. So it's not D-pad forward, but D-pad right. I found that the D-pad, like I'm pressing the D-pad forward and it's turning on me. It's because it's so, sensitive in there as to what. So instead, it went to forward motion to be the triggers. And, that's all right. Or did I say a bumper? Sorry. Yeah, the trigger. So the bumper's up top. Bumper doesn't do anything. So it's the right trigger. Moves it forward. That's just by default, but you can map that to whatever you want. And we'll show you how you can map that. How about now? Okay, so we'll come back here. And there was the game button. Let's go to the documentation. Have a look. That's where we were, out here. Go to ZIM. Pladunk. Docs and motion, like so. The motion controller, right, and we've adjusted that. It was missing the first person last time, but we've got that in now. So the type, set to game button to use gamepad. Can you see that okay? Let's maximize this a bit. Set to game button to use gamepad buttons to control the target. See the map parameter. So that's what we're going to look at next. And game stick to use the gamepad stick to control the target. All right. Now I think at the moment those two are, you can't do them at the same time. I'm not sure in one controller. I think you can't. So just beware of that. So swiping manual, okay, speed, access, rect, map. So here's mapping. Default is null, an array with left, right, up, down values. So left, right, up, and down values. Or each of these could be an array themselves, as outlined below. So here's the default for the key down. Is the left is 65 and 37. That would be your A and your arrow to the left, and so forth. Okay, so if you don't want the default, then you would pass in a map parameter, and if you wanted only the keys, then you could get rid of the 65 in there. So keys would go. That did not work very well. I hit the backspace. I can't edit this. But you would delete that one, you would delete this one, you would delete that one, and leave only 37, 39, 38, and 40, and then your arrows would be the only ones that worked. Or if you had other things in mind, you could do that too. Here's the game button ones. 14, 15, 12, and 13 are the game buttons. So these are D-pad left, D-pad right, D-pad up, and D-pad down. Oh, right, yeah. That's what it is for the game button when you're not in first person. So when you're in first person, which of course makes sense. So if we're looking up above the thing and we're wanting to move it left, right, and forward and stuff like that, then it totally makes sense just to use the D-pad. If we are in the game button in first person, though, then they're 14, 15, 7, and 6, which is D-pad left, D-pad right, right trigger, and left trigger. Okay, so that's those. And with the game stick, it's with the game stick, it's left stick X handles both left and right, and left stick Y handles both of that. And the first person and game stick, it is turn left with left stick or right stick, and advance with left stick Y. So either of your sticks will turn left and right, and you go forward with the left-hand side. And that works pretty darn well. I found that the stick is probably the easiest to drive with, I think. Okay, now how do you know what these numbers are? Well, if we close this one up, this is the motion controller. So just underneath the motion controller is the GamePad. And this is a new class now, which extends an event dispatcher. GamePad connects the GamePad controllers as inputs using the HTML navigator.gamepads API, dispatches button down, button up events for the following common buttons. So here's all of the buttons that it can do. And the event object will have a button property telling you which button is pressed. Using the string values above. So the button property will give you RS, for instance. It also dispatches a data event constantly to get the axes data for the sticks. And also you can access constant button data through that as well. So the button press is not like a key press. A key press, if you hold it down, there's a delay, and then you keep on holding it, and then it whips through saying, I'm pressing, I'm pressing, I'm pressing, I'm pressing. I decided not to do that with the buttons for the controllers. If you want to get that constant, I'm pressing, I'm pressing, I'm pressing, then you can go to a data event, okay, and get them through that way. And the axes work, they go from, what the heck is wrong with my old right? I keep on, yeah, never mind. Okay, the axes go from -1 in the x to 1 in the x, and -1 in the y to 1 in the y, and they sometimes go a little bit over that, and they're crazy, so have fun with that, but you can get the data for those just fine. So if we added a button down event to the GamePad, as it says here, only fires once per button, unlike a constant keydown event, then we can find out what the button is, and it might say left trigger for the left trigger. So we can just say if e.button is double equal to left trigger, then the left trigger's down. Okay, if we ask for the button code, it's going to give us a number 6. So then we can put that up in the that's how we can get them. Also, you can use ZIM.gamepad.lt, so constants. There's a set of constants that match. So here are the constants. They basically match the name. So you can compare them to the constants if you so desire. Instead of saying e.button, is e.button equal to LT? You could say, is e.button code, that's the code, the number, equal to zim.gamepad.lt. So a few different ways that you can access things. All right, isn't that great? Now you've got GamePad control in ZIM. Woohoo! Yay! And combine that with the motion controller, and you've got a lot of bubbling going on here at ZIM. I'm inventor Dan Zen. We shall return next. We'll take a look. We're creating a new game helper module, and at the moment that's got a leaderboard and well, whatever those things are called, a little gauge or display saying how many frames per second you're getting. I can't remember what I called that. Okay, so we'll come back with the bubbling and take a look at the leaderboard. Ciao for now, brown cow. Bye-bye.